Hi there, welcome. Here it is, our very first digital at-home mat class that I'm here to share with you today. I'm compelled to really start with the basics and bring us all along together from A to Z. I really feel that the fundamentals and having the fundamentals in our bodies will serve us the best. It's also very, very important that we understand all of that to go into a more advanced series later. Some of you are already somewhat advanced. Some of you are still beginners. Some of you are somewhere in between. And I think everyone can benefit. We can all agree that if we have the fundamentals, everything else is better. And I think it's a good point to make that right now we're almost going back in time anyway. Our world is. We're moving backwards, not forwards in so many ways, so that we can move forward. So let's take that as a cue from nature, and let's bring that into our practice today. And I'm going to start up here. I brought my mat in from the other studio, thinking that it might help for you to see me up a little bit. Okay, so first I just want us to lie down, and we're going to do some breath work to start. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. I think so. We want to keep the feet parallel, sit bone distance apart. Feel the heaviness of your sacrum on the mat, finding a neutral position in the spine to begin our breathing right now. So place your hands on your ribs and just feel the weight of your ribs on the mat. And with your breath, as you inhale, find that expansiveness in the rib cage, opening the ribs wide, and then exhale, feeling them close in together. And let's continue that for 8 breath cycles. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. A few more here. So much of the work we do in Pilates starts with the breath. So practicing the breath is fundamental to the work. It's also something that you can fall back on when you feel that life is getting a little fast for you maybe, or a little hard to understand. Returning to the breath calms the nervous system. Yeah. So right now we're in a neutral spine position, and I'd like you to just sense what that feels like to not be tilting or tucking our pelvis. It's just neutral, okay? And then there's something called imprinting, where we want to actually try to create a more sense of heaviness, like pressing your entire backside into your mat. So let's just try that. Feel as if there are no spaces between any of your bones, the ribs, sacrum, and then also the low back, the curve of your low back. Try and flatten that as well. Of course, your neck is going to stay curved. That's important. As if you're making a footprint, but it's an imprint of your backside entirely into your mat. Learning how to create that heaviness. That will serve you well. And then just come back into your neutral. Take a nice breath here. And now we're going to practice some pelvic movement. Now, when we move our pelvis, we want to move it in isolation. So nothing else is going to be moving. I'm going to have you just imagine your pelvis as a bowl of water, bringing your hands onto your hip bones. Start to move that bowl of water forward towards your belly button, and then away, down, back, away from your belly button, towards your pubic bone. And go back and forth several times between those 2 points. It's a small movement. If I was watching you right now, I might not see it. The goal here is to not spill the water out of your pelvic bowl, but move it just a little bit. Maintaining that nice breathing that you were practicing before. Then come back into your neutral position. And now let's move that bowl slightly side to side. So in between those 2 hip bones, we can call that 3 and 9 o'clock. Really small movements there. Yeah. It's small, it's nice. Now, let's take our movement all the way around those sides, top and bottom edges. So small, either clockwise or counterclockwise movement. Now go the other direction. Reverse your circles. It might not look like I'm doing anything, but maybe you can see the slightest movement happening down in my pelvis. And while I'm moving my pelvis, I'm keeping my ribs still. I'm keeping my head, well, unless I'm looking at you, I'm keeping my head still. So just keep your eyes looking straight up in the sky. And then let's all just pause back in neutral position and notice what that feels like. It's kind of nice. From here, let's start and move a little bit in our thigh bones. So right now our knees are parallel. Now I want you to just let your left or right knee, you choose which one you're going to move first, opens slightly out away from center without moving your pelvis. Those hip bones stay nice and even. The knee moves out and the knee moves back in. And let's do that on the other side. It moves out and move back in. Again, these are small movements. We're going to continue moving one side, out and in, and the other side, out and in. See if you can feel the slightest amount of work starting to happen to control your pelvis from wanting to move along with that femur bone. I'm telling you right now that it can be the most subtle things that we can do that seem like small actions that we can take in our body and in life that can make the biggest difference. Never underestimate the power of small. Not insignificant whatsoever. Okay, let's do that one more time on the other side and come back into center. Nice. Now we're going to go ahead and extend our leg, lifting the toes of one foot. Push and slide your heel out away from you while the rest of your body remains still. Pelvis, chest, head, still on the mat. Slide that heel back in. Same leg, you're going to slide it back out, flexing your foot. So you're really opening the front of that hip. Feels mighty nice. And slide the heel back in. Again, feeling the control that you're creating in your body by keeping that pelvis still, ribs still, shoulder blades nice and tucked underneath your body. Sliding that leg out, the front of the hip nice and open, feels so good, and sliding the heel back in. One more time on this side. And just as an aside to you all, I may not be perfect at counting the repetitions. Let's do the other leg. But you'll let me slide on this one, right? Slide the heel out. I said slide too many times. And slide it back in. Lift your toes. Slide the heel out. And slide it back in. Good, let's do that a few more times so we feel even. Opening that hip. Oh, it feels really good to me right now, I have to say. Less is more, people, right now. Less is more. And one more. I think that'll be just right. And we'll bring that back up and in. How nice was that? All right, now we're going to bring our arms all the way down flat by our sides. And we're going to practice some really small bridging. So once again, I want you to stay in your neutral spine. Take a nice breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to lift your pelvis ever so slightly off your mat, maintaining that neutral spine. That is not easy. I'm already firing up my core, my low belly, a little bit in my glutes, a little bit in my hamstrings. Maybe eke it up just a tad bit higher without coming out of that neutral position. And then slowly lower it back down, keeping that neutral spine. Again, not easy. Subtle, deep work here. Let's take a breath in. And let's do that again. Lifting the pelvis. Keep it super neutral. Hold. Let's take a nice deep breath here, holding it up. And exhale, bring it back down. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Nice breath in here at the bottom. And exhale, bring it up. Hold. Maintain that neutral position. Nice deep breath in. And exhale, bring it back down. I think one more will be perfect. Inhale. And exhale. Lift that pelvis, maintaining that neutral position. Nice deep breath in. And exhale, bring it down. Excellent. Okay, great. Our next move is going to be a knee lift. So this is also staying in your neutral spine. Palms are down, shoulder blades tucked underneath you. You're going to lift your knee ever so slightly and bring it down. Again, without your pelvis moving. Easier said than done, right? And other side, lift the knee, keep that neutral spine, and lower, and switch. It's more work than any of you ever probably thought it would be to keep that neutral, still pelvis. So keep going, one knee, and then the other knee. Once your foot touches the mat, you can lift the other side. And this is just nice to go at your own pace. You don't even have to watch me, just you're moving until I give you a cue to stop and we go to the next move. just appreciating, again, that we can move our bodies. We do have an option right now to stay healthy, to continue with our inner work, getting stronger, more flexible for sure in these times, right? Flexibility isn't just a physical aspect of our lives. Let's do one more on the other side. Now go ahead and bring up one of your knees, one of your thighs, and you're going to take it into your hand, okay? And now you're going to stir that one thigh bone. Now this is a very small movement once again. You're stirring your thigh bone in the socket. Nice. Place that on the floor. Let's lift the other knee. Bring your hand to your knee and just very gently stir. Small movement here. That pelvis wants to rock, doesn't it? I know mine does. Mine likes to move. I bet yours does too. And bring that foot down. Now let's try it with both. Let's bring both knees up, hands in holding onto your knees. Your feet can just kind of hang here. And we're going to stir such a small circle here. Pulling those lower abdominals in to maintain stability in your pelvis and stir the other way. Very small, right, folks? Yeah. I don't know about you, but I feel this in my body. I feel the work. Those dominant muscles, they don't even have a chance to jump in right now and take over. Because boy, they do love to do that. Okay, let's pause here. Bring one foot down and then the other. Nice. Okay, now we're going to turn onto our stomach and practice some prone work here. So if I sound a little nasally, I'm sorry. It's because my nose is sort of squished down in the mat. I'll work on that. So just fold one arm on top of the other, stacking your palms. And you're going to lay your head down on the mat. So your forehead is on your stacked palms and your nose is just touching. The tip of your nose might be touching. It probably might not, actually. Mine's not. So now the reverse is going to be true. You're imprinting the front of your pelvis on your mat. I want you to feel the heaviness that you can create there. Take a nice deep breath. Feel the heaviness of your pelvis. Feel the openness of your sacrum and low back. The front of your hips are nice and open. And now we're going to practice a leg extension. So you're going to direct your energy out through the crown of your head and out through the tips of your toes and start to lift just one leg. Let's start with our right leg. The thigh is floating ever so slightly off your mat while you're working on maintaining the imprinting down of that pelvis into the mat. You'll feel the front of your hip long. Let it hover and then rest it. Now let's do the other side. Take a nice breath in. On your exhale, lift just ever so slightly by lengthening out through the front of your hip. Toes are pointed, energy moving out both ends of your body, through the crown of your head and out through the tips of your toes. Pelvis is heavy. And rest. And let's do the other side again. We're going to do 3 on each side total. Take a nice deep breath in. And elongate, lengthen as you lift. Slight hover of that thigh up off your mat. Keeping the pelvis heavy. let it lower. And other side, again, inhale. Exhale, float that thigh so slightly. And lower it down. We're going to do one more on each side. Breathe in. And exhale, floating that thigh. I'm with you all the way. Yes, I promise this is all going to be so wonderful when we incorporate these fundamentals into the next levels of our classes. Inhale here again, and exhale, float that other thigh nice and long. Pelvis is nice and heavy. And rest it. You ready to try both? Okay, here we go. Take a nice breath in. And both thighs hover, lengthen out through the front of those hips. Heavy pelvis, gathering in to the abdominals to support your low back. And lower down and rest. 2 more times. Breathe in. And exhale, lengthen, hover. This isn't exactly easy, everybody. The fundamentals are not. They're designed to support us in the harder work, but it's not easy. Take another breath in. And lift. The good news is if we have the fundamentals right, the more advanced work feels easier. We move with greater ease. That is the goal in life. We want to feel more ease, right? And lower down. Really nice. Now we're going to work on what we call cervical nodding. And this is another thing that we need to work on for all the other work that we'll be doing later. So your forehead is down on the mat, back of the neck is long, and you're just gonna lift your head ever so slightly. Actually, let's put our arms down by our sides, then you can see me better. Start to slowly lift the nose a little higher. And lower it down. You're going to feel your forehead touch the mat. Take a breath in. And then exhale. Feel again the elongation of your upper back and your neck. And you're going to bring your head up just a little bit higher. Working in the sides and upper part of your back to lift that heavy head. And lower it down. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in. And exhale, breathing out. I feel very strong muscles working right now for me, right here, 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 and lower down. Okay, let's move on to the cervical nod, and this is important to so much of the work as well that we'll be doing later on in our Pilates practice, both in mat and equipment. So you're going to bring your hands right underneath your shoulders. Forehead touches the mat, the tip of your nose touches the mat. You're going to take a nice breath in, and then on your exhale, you're going to lift your head, keep the back of the neck long, lift it up ever so slightly, and ever so slightly, and bring it back down. Begin again, inhale, and exhale, thinking about our backside and what is working, lengthening. Everything is long from the crown of the head down to the tips of our toes. We're working here in our side body, upper back, mid back, and lower down. Take a breath in. And one more time. Exhale, lift. And lower down, rest. So let's practice what's called the cervical nod. So you're going to keep your head down on the mat and bring your chin down towards your chest. Make that double chin, but nothing else in the body is moving, okay? And then you're gonna let it move away from the chest, holding everything else still and stable, and bring it back down. The yes. One more time. And then come to center. Okay, now we're going to take the tip of our nose and we're going to draw little baby circles on the ceiling with the tip of our nose. Your head is still resting comfortably on the mat. You're creating heaviness in your core, your pelvis and your chest. And now let's draw our circles in the other direction. Good. Now, let's come to center. Take a nice deep breath, and now you're going to actually lift your head off your mat. Look down, away from yourself, maybe at a wall, maybe at a window. Depends on how low your windows are, and rest the head down. Take a breath in. Let's try that again. Everything else is down on your mat, and lower the head, and breathe in, and breathe out. And rest. Now we're going to combine that lift, that floating head, with the little circles. So inhale, prepare. Lift the head and draw those little tiny circles. One direction and the other direction, ever so small. I don't know about you, but I think this is hard. My neck was working hard, heavy head. However, that's important that we continue to keep our necks strong. Later on, they aren't going to be doing all the work. Down here is going to be helping us do the work. So it's important to keep it strong, but not depend on it fully. So let's try that one more time. Lift the head, draw your little tiny circles, and other way. And rest. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, now we're going to bend our knees. Feet are, again, parallel, sits bone distance apart or hip distance apart. Keeping your head down. Now we want to lift our arms, and you're going to reach your arms up. Now what's important as you're reaching your arms up is that your rib cage stays flat and still on the mat. Now see how high you can get your arms over your head without lifting your ribs. Now you may only get this far. You may be able to go all the way down to touching your mat, and then slowly bring your arms back. Again, pelvis absolutely still. Ribs still. Arm bones moving in the shoulder sockets. And here we go again. Whoever said the basics were easy? They are the building blocks, of course. Even those of you that do reformer or tower classes with me or Sue, you're going to find that this is actually challenging, right? Am I right? You can all write me later and tell me what you think. And bring those arms back up. Try not to move those ribs. How far can we go? And back down. Good. Now you're going to bring your arms out to the side. Oh, whoops, I just realized my mat is too close to the wall. Give me a second. I'm going to move it away so that I can open my arms fully. You don't mind that little break, right? Okay. So you need to have space to be able to spread your arms out completely from one side to the other. Now, this is a good measure for how we should be practicing our social distancing, right? The arm's length, both arms length away. Well, here we go. We're going to use it right now in our class. So you're opening your arms as wide as you can. And now you're going to lower your arms. You're going to rotate your palms down and then rotate your palms back up. And while you're rotating, nothing else is moving. So you feel that sort of spiraling of the arm bones, muscles wrapping around the bones, spiraling while the collarbone remains still. Once again, seems like it's going to be easy. Maybe, maybe not. Last time. Good, let's bring the arms a little bit closer to the body. So you're going to start to bend your elbows just a little bit. And now they're just slightly lower down, maybe about the rib height. And let's try this again. Rotate, turn your palms up, and turn your palms down. And rotate your palms up. And while you're doing this, start to gather your low belly in to create that nice neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Just gives you something else to do, right? So we're still here, connected to our bodies, always, in that physical sense. Nice. Good. Now you can just bring your arms in all the way down by your sides. Palms are down. And then you're going to turn your palms up. And down. And up. And down. And up. And down. And last time. And down. And pause. And just let everything integrate. Nice deep breath here would be great. And exhale. Okay, now we're going to come to seated on your mat. One leg crossed in front of the other. Doesn't really matter which one. And we're going to do a little spinal rotation. So this is for your thoracic. I think this is wonderful for all of us to do. It's you're just going to take, actually let's keep the hands on the knees to start. And you're going to rotate your spine to one side without moving your pelvis. Since you're sitting, maybe that will be a little easier to do. And each time you turn your head and rotate, maybe you'll get a little further. Okay, let's change the arms now. We're going to bring one hand to each shoulder, so stacking your elbows one on top of the other. And isn't that nice? It's kind of like you're giving yourself a hug. We can all use an extra hug right about now, especially since we might only be able to give ourselves a hug. So let's take your hug and you're going to rotate rotate to one side and rotate to the other side. Now you may notice a little bit more restriction in your movement because of your self-hug. Don't worry, it'll be okay. Rotating the rib cage around the waist. And now we're going to change the arms one more time. So we're going to stack them like genie arms. Stacking one arm on top of the other, doesn't matter which one for now. And we're going to do this again. So you're going to rotate around. I'm giving you that little magical nod like genie. Ding, ding. Where would we want to go? Well, right now, I don't know where we could go. There's not very many places in the world that would be much different, right? That puts us on a level playing field, I would say, in some ways. And let's come back to center and bring your arms down. Yay. How did that feel? I think it felt pretty good. Okay, we're going to go back down onto our stomachs. We're going to fly. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Okay, so forehead is down. And you're going to bring your arms down by your sides. And your fingers, your hands, are going to be up against your thighs, like you're giving yourself a little thigh hug. And we're going to keep that pelvis, once again, heavy, pushing down into your mat, creating that imprinted sensation. And take a nice deep breath in and then bring your head up. Press your hands against your thighs. Here's that upper thoracic working. Your side body is working to keep pressing those hands into your sides. And lower it down and rest. Take a breath in. And exhale, let's fly again. Long back of the neck. Hands pressing by your sides. And lower down and take a breath in. And exhale, coming up. Inhale, coming down. Let's do one more time. Inhale, and then lift as you exhale. Press those hands against your thighs. And rest. Great. Now you're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to push ourselves up onto all fours. One of my favorite things to do here is just a simple cat-cow. Now, it's kind of like the bowl movement that we did with our pelvis earlier, where we were swishing the water in the bowl. We're going to move it to 6 o'clock. Move it to 12 o'clock. Pulling your belly in. And again, pelvis is moving. Everything else is following along. And let's come up to your 12 o'clock. Back down towards 6 o'clock. And again, you can do this as many times as you want to. It feels really nice and yummy to me right now. In fact, depending on what time of day you're doing this, I guess you could do it anytime, really. I would do this every morning and every night, even if you don't do the rest of the exercises. And let's do that one more time. And coming back to a seated position in the middle of your mat. I'm just wanting us to finish today connecting to gratitude. Gratitude for the gift of a body. Gratitude for being able to stay connected to each other. With this technology, we have that option. We have the option to stay connected. You can send me messages, you can write me emails, we can call each other on the phone, wave to each other out on a hike 6 feet apart. There are still options, right? So I am just so grateful to have you in my life. And let's keep that fire burning, keep that light burning and shining that you have inside of you. Thank you. And I'll see you again soon.